Peace, Chiefs and Deers. It's Brownbird with another video. Before I begin, like and subscribe. So today I wanted to make a video on an ongoing situation that's been happening for the last couple of days. It seems as if there was a altercation that happened in Harlem where a couple of men, or one man in particular, felt some type of way about a woman rejecting him in the liquor store because he really wanted her number and wanted to follow her inside the store. And the reason I wanted to make this video is because this gives into my hypothesis, not really hypothesis, but something I know already, especially being a product of that environment, that too many times, so many people put the so-called black man into a box about being a degenerate, being a gangster, being out of line, and doing all these different things. And more specifically, as I've been reiterating so many times, that a lot of so-called black women do not see a positive in so-called black men. So any little cherry picking points that they could get, they're going to use against the so-called black man. And the reason why I say this is here in this clip, this brother that's going to be mentioned later, he would be defined as a pookie. He would be defined as a degenerate because he is the one that exemplifies the type of hood dude that does extreme stuff towards so-called black women. So in this clip, you'll see it as it plays. I'm going to do my commentary on it. So Pete.
To pay.
A brutal attack in Harlem on a woman who was just trying to buy a bottle of wine.
She says that it happened after she turned down one man's offer to pay for her. CBS 2's Lisa Rosner spoke exclusively with the victim.
Surveillance video shows a group outside this liquor store as a woman walks in alone just before 6 p.m. Monday. The 31-year-old mother says she was buying a bottle of wine after work when two men walked in the shop on West 128th Street and St. Nicholas Avenue. She says the man in the red offered to pay.
I politely declined and I said...
And I'm not laughing because of what she's saying. I know this too well. So to me, hearing the situation is like, damn, but it's just that I'm trying to make sure you understand that this is a particular trick that they use to try to get a woman's number. So what they do is they go inside of a liquor store, or any store for that matter, or just outside, and when they see that a woman is fondling with a credit card or money, they'll try to enact this act of chivalry or try to be gracious towards the woman to help her out with the purchase that she wants to make. And therefore, the motive is to get the number. Listen, I know a lot of guys know this. This is probably not even just a New York thing, but we understand this too well, that the man's tactics, such as this, they're doing that to get the woman's number. And it's just ironic because it reminds me of the stuff that I see every day. Not to say that this justifies her being put into a violent situation, but it's so typical, and we have to express that here. So continue.
That, no thank you, but thank you. Could pay for it myself. And I got ready to walk out. And before I walk out, he basically said that he felt like I thought that I was better than them.
The men followed her out, she says, asking what did she want to do about it.
So I just asked him, I said, like, you're seriously trying to fight me?
And let me say something to that. I know this is going to sound controversial, and I don't mean it to sound controversial, but in that clip that you just seen, the best thing that woman could have done is not respond at all once she got her purchase. Quickly walk out that store, don't say anything, because these men look for a reason to continuously talk to you and try to interrogate you into doing something you don't want to do. And I'm not saying that this situation would have necessarily changed what they did, but it could have been a good possibility that she could have walked from this situation scot-free without anything happening to her. I'm not saying that I would have changed it or would have happened 100%, but the odds that you do not give this man a chance to say anything to you and you just walk away, slim and unchanged, they would have been not able to say anything, and they could have just went on some loser streak, and she could have went home directly. But again, I'm saying this because it is a possibility that if she could have not said anything, that the men would have not continuously tried to say something to her as she walked outside the store.
But Like, I'm trying to go about my business.
She says they chased her across the street, kicking her, and one man actually bit her forehead, leaving deep wounds. She says he tried to bite her eye out. Others kicked her.
To bite me and do that, maul me the way that he did, with me screaming and saying that I'm just trying to get my daughter, that's an animal. That's not a person.
Witnesses tell me multiple people called 911. The woman was taken to NYC Health and Hospital's Harlem in stable condition. During the attack, she says her iPhone fell on the ground, and when she went to grab it,
he pried the phone out my hand. He's like, give me your phone.
She says afterwards someone told her to run because one of the men had done this to someone else before and could come back. The woman, who has not been able to open one eye, says the suspects need to be caught immediately so other people going about their day don't fall prey. In Harlem, Lisa Rosner, CBS 2 News.
And police say they are looking.
And fellas, I mean, or people in general, we gotta hold this L, man. That's just so-called black men, man. Like, we're out here looking ourselves bad, yo. Like, I don't think the black man protects black women. We don't protect black women. You know, I thought I was gonna do this video to prove that, but I guess I'm wrong. Hold on a second.
Protect black women, son. What's that? Protect black women. Niggas ain't standing for it no more. That's the liquor store right there. Niggas ain't standing for it no more. Whoever them niggas are, y'all, I feel bad for y'all, son. Y'all niggas is gonna get caught up. Y'all niggas is gonna get caught up, bro. Niggas ain't playing with y'all. Look at that. They out there deep. Protect black women.
I still don't believe this, man. The black men don't protect black women. Let me see this. What's this say? Right here.
The search continues tonight for the men who attacked a woman after she told one of them she didn't want him to buy her a bottle of wine. Tonight, she's getting a show of support from her community, calling for justice. CBS 2's Corey James reports from Harlem.
A large crowd of people stretched across 128th Street in Harlem Saturday night, many of them standing directly in front of this liquor store where a 31-year-old mother was brutally beaten Monday. The demonstration was the end of a rally that began 3 blocks away as women, men, and children stood on the corner speaking out against violence targeting the neighborhood.
If we don't do it, who is? It's our responsibility. It's our duty to protect our women and children in our community.
And wait a minute, that's in front of the state building on 125th. Am I right or am I wrong? Wait a minute. Nah, I don't believe it. No, I actually do believe it because it brings up my point that black men always protect black women. But of course, when you're doused in what you call the gender war, there's always going to be a side narrative to make it seem like the so-called black man is inherently evil. That's what it seems like, especially to a lot of brothers that I hear now that sit up there and say the so-called black man does not protect so-called black women.
It could have been me, my daughters, my mother, any female. The community as a whole, we all need to stick together.
Earlier this week, CBS 2's Lisa Rosner spoke with the woman assaulted. She says the man wearing a red parka in this surveillance video offered to pay for her wine, but she politely declined. After checking out and walking out the store, the woman says a group of men chased her across the street, then kicking her, one of them even biting her on the forehead.
Wait a minute. I'm not justifying what he did was right, but you see how she stayed at the door while the man was sitting up there saying something to her? At that situation, she could have just quickly walked out. And it's just constructive criticism so that I could help women like this or people like this avoid violent situations. Now, a lot of people won't believe me, but I'm doing this to say the idea of interrogation or possible quarrels, little beefs and stuff like that can be avoided by a simple walk away. You just be like, whatever, dude, keep it moving. That is the number one thing I stress to anybody, regardless of gender, because hood dudes are a special type of dudes. They're a special type of Negroes. Those type of Negroes look for a reason to fight or interrogate people in general. And maybe it's not even just nationality Pacific. It could be other nationalities that embark on these type of things once they feel like they got rejected or cannot take an L. So I advise people, especially women, stay out of situations like this by simply walking out the store. Do not even give the man a chance to say anything. Walk on, do you, go home, especially to your daughter.
No matter how much I asked, I'm trying to get to my daughter. Please leave me alone. I said I'll call the cops. He didn't care about that. He had one thing on his mind, and that was to attack me. That's what he wanted to do.
The victim's family members showed up to the rally in support of their cousin, who they say is still traumatized.
People can't think that they can do what they want to do. No means no.
Senseless, no reason. She didn't even know them. We need them caught. That's our main objective.
And police are hoping this footage will help make that happen so that the woman who was attacked can have justice and her sense of security restored.
I definitely want to see him locked up and put underneath the jail for what he did to me, because I didn't deserve this.
And the woman assaulted says one of the men also took off with her phone after snatching it out of her hand. Police say they have no new leads in this investigation and are asking anyone with information to contact them. In Harlem, Corey James, CBS 2 News.
You ever heard about people flipping stuff? Like flipping houses, flipping stuff?
They ain't standing for it no more.
And before I get out of here, I make these videos because I recognize that there are a good amount of so-called black women who still follow behind the narrative behind the 50s and 60s, especially bringing up things like Waiting to Exhale or movies like The Color Purple, where you had the violent so-called black man who sat there and put on a whole entire violent scene towards the actress Whoopi Goldberg in that movie. I forgot her character's name, but the reason I make this video is because this is cherry picking points for so-called black women in order to aid the idea that the so-called black man is merely a monster and that he cannot do no well. He's a no good, degenerate person who will hang in front of a liquor store, who's very low vibrational and very much low in spirit in order to attack a woman because he got rejected. The narrative and the push that I hope to put on this channel is for so-called black men to have a positive viewpoint, a positive presentation, that we cannot be associated with men like this who are called Pookies and Ray Rays. That brother right there seems like he's even in a gang because of the necklaces that he's wearing around his neck. Those are beads. I know what those beads stand for. But therefore, this narrative and push to put the so-called black man down will not be tolerated. And we have to do a better job as men exactly to get out of situations like this or stand away from men like this. And that is the proof of the product of the environment, because that brother right there is a product of his environment. But there's a difference between the brother that is hood and the brother that is from the hood. We have to make that distinction clear because a lot of people don't get it.